Congratulations. I'm still going to the reference that Bonnie might be a sort of thing and that Roma might have now like actual dot point like the long system of these two what might have been maybe like the villain from conflict the system or it might have been what is the mechanistic lever of the rabbit code and Roma actual thought was made and well fundamental to the reaction might have been Bonnie and where point to the city once like where we might have found out about that Roma black story that it might have been where that might have at that point might have had like the idea to create to replicate that Kuma might have not had a photo of that Kuma and that Bonnie and that river might have replicated that the actual dog like Bonnie using through the startups and Bonnie might have been what might have happened especially related to their those things still take remember to carry a person that like Bonnie might be that the very something that like another might have created so sort of that's going to be my particular that I'm sitting on to it might have been mostly due to that the withers of natural and violence that and rotating that the situation might have arrived for like Roma as well as like Bonnie is like Fortnite team is like active and what Bonnie might have had no other option but to actually the kingdom. The kingdom might have been like the case of the nurturing, but I don't think the kingdom like I'm not going for might have lost Bonnie might have been what would have happened. At that point, lack of Puma might have been in that approach of that. At that point, might have been when that dragon might have showed up to that kingdom, might have interested in that kingdom of Puma, most likely, while targeting the dragon. Might have been like the case of Demon Brain. So, like, seeing Puma in that absolute final state, like, I'm working that dragon, might have been dragon that might have forcefully taken Puma with him and might have made it for so much so much to escape that way from that kingdom might have been what might have happened to simply my so at that point, after the friend Roma might have not even had like a photo of that body, but it might have been like a situation of Roma might have been like a name as a student. And so Dragon might have been how Roma might have met the from the might have been like the case of the name as a student. So like at that point, I'm probably something it might have been fair point that might have that told Puma that he thinks that he can bring body back might be along the line. That might have also mind like that. I'm probably right now constantly for like the Victorian broadcasting for Duma more likely using like for like more likely uh visualizing creating a mental image of and visualizing with dot spawning in his mind as well as through Duma's memory of his past uh, time spending with Bonnie So like all of that memory about Bonnie and those different sort of Duma transferring all that using is like proper verbs and giving it to where and using by verb getting that like embodiment where being able to of that and being able to like through that like verb being able to recreate and bring back body and that something is like signature now that's all like what might have happened in like the long different parts that make measures in the real world. So like the three measures in the real world right now that is that using current percent through GR5 powers that they might be in actually vast superior from than buildings might do that capacity while the zone of strength might be exactly almost exactly equivalent to that the full strength of that lithium. While non-threatening Sandy current power level might be stronger than that of Krakow, but like weaker than a bit slight bit weaker than that of Black Lithium might be that category of the series. Certainly might put in there. So like certainly my the ambition right now for like shark I feel like right now most likely come down to like the resistance and plan to like most likely send Edison to like sneak in to like the battlefield and basically to like or like the or like something to like turn again want to get done again like to see the draw and then for like basically to while like the people are only busy with their battle against like to have at that point itself like the features are also being put some much of with that battle against like the surface and at that point for Edison to like advantage the fact to that safely and quickly make it back to like the lab to be along the lines of like the plan for like Shah had to like come down. So like at that point, the number different for like Lilith is badly wanting to be the person to do that, carry out that mission, but like I'm not different that actually not allowing Lilith and setting Edison, but like another different Edison to carrying out like the mission perfectly until like the point and like Edison would be almost about to make it back after like ordering like the something again. At the zero zero, right? And Edison would be about to make it back. Like I'm not at that point, I'm not for like Lucy telling and Lucian Katu really attempting to lag capture Edson, but like I'm referring at that point for the topic lag Lucy as well as lag Katu on the right then you now that I'm referring. But like I'm like Edson will be almost about to make it back to like the lags. I'm not referring most likely to the capture Edson that not extendable. And that way that was damaging like the robot Edson and basically that way once again regaining back just control for lag or like something once again is like giving the scenario that is only for right now. So like leave my consideration but right now that like coma might have most likely see it born during lag ceremony at lag marriage might have been that was the case that we can do that. Even to the person lag in coma memories lag coma might be think that lag body might be captured and might be in an can say at that marriage. So like just names stepping into the computer and watching us for like what was his way and making finally making it to that setup and making it to that marriage and at that point still from the returning was to be like the topic use that would be favorite topic Kuma in the track like not and debating Kuma like not that about thing. And at that point of the difference one that topic use straight away going up to like a kind of and this at that point a kind of it's like they're telling you to that it gives Kuma back to like the dragons to develop the kind of and like at that point I'm not looking at like by now like I'm not looking at weapon might have created like dog which like Spuma like about that might be more potent or like sorry just might be just like the dragon might be the case that leave them strange so like even like the dragons having at that point like having no need for like the type of format like does not that about so definitely at that point, I'm preparing for like an realistic when I'm like how to use the directs to destroy Uma, but like that will like and I'm not preparing for like full your select short and basically switch it on topic properly and like switch it on most likely going up to that kind of and basically getting Hakaino to like agree to send Pokemon Coma to like symbol of like benefits and all that and then so that way projecting that Coma not getting destroyed but instead being pencil like a build out that saving the scenario where like I'm going to support to be already at present might be in a different kind of state. So like definitely I'm still in the moment in the reaction that like chemo before destroying the resistance I might have not likely use that what might be any like Jesus power to teleport Sabo towards like and then Timo might have probably interrogated Sabo and crushed might have crushed Sabo like spirit and then might have given the order to that send Sabo off to that timber down. Might have been what might have happened. Like, the lyrics might have been okay, so like definitely my very person right now is definitely for like Edson to like successfully execute like the mission and successfully get like the certain to like take orders from them and then again like see the like in the scenarios that are different. But like I'm and Edison successfully making it back to like the lab like scenario that I'm looking and that they are bring at that point like essentially the scenario to be more likely needed to be that right behind Edison, but like right as that needed would be about to end up into that the lab like and so thing most likely for the first time I'm not defining for the most likely to be that will be falling data covered as like the narrative that's like running away from them. The lines I'm defining for the to see that I'm defining to be walking the left hand lab neither totally falling for that trap and that will refusing at that very final moment like avoiding neither to be there to like make it back to like the lab like and probably that maybe still falling from that fragment so that if you like to turn back and to that take on to these like finish the scenario that I'm looking that way that I'm going to spring that and Lilith getting captured and basically like story repeating Lilith and basically at that point set the point just like that way like the people who are taking back from of like the sort of something to make it into scenario that I'm going to talking right now. So like definitely my very emphasis right now is that I think like 500 years ahead of that futuristic technology like I'm still hoping that something that should that may not be something that would be easily destroyed even for like the platforms might be like that the days certainly my particular effort. So like I'm probably for there to need a lot of like different systems and different mechanisms for like the lab for like emergency situations, which I'm probably hoping for like Shaka right now to be exhausting of again like the more structure to see if like the lab or the carries like their scenarios that I'm visible for him right now. Like definitely I'm still in the one of the reimbursement that time. So he might be very like actual down might be like that certificate but legal to that where one thing like the law the past might have assigned to the with like the task of like infiltrating and getting into like the navy and to collect that secret and to the information collect the plans with the Navy and basically that to just be leak it out to Latin markets and everything with such mission like I'm going to bring that person in like the young person might have what story to like integrate into that the Navy might have been what might have that Mr. Fleet might be to that certainly behind that the structure of that Morgan's career and behind that Morgan even to like the person like remaining managing and survive in all of this like I'm going to think that the involvement of that weapon as well as like to the might see might be like that pursuit that they do definitely might be very it's so like that you might look into reimbursement right now, just being more like even today I'm looking at what like this average and Steam like and that code really showing up to it on Extradite and at that point I'm predicting that Zara might be most likely uh, planning on bringing a bunch of might be like to that Extradite and might be like that getting to this definitely not today I'm looking so definitely I'm at that point definitely I'm bringing that Zara definitely manage to that dream Lucy as well as Chicago reflecting scenario character defense. And at that point, I'm going to until that point, I'm going to bring Lack and Lucy while remaining in what may be a trap mechanic situations and lack of Lack that going to bring Lack Lucy being filled with that absolute extreme rage towards Lack to be for that absolute betrayal, like not that absolute that I'm going to bring by the time Cesaro was eventually freeing like the jumper different like the arrow just like about to bring down to the as well like the scenarios of that number. But like at that point I'm different like Luigi was like shouting out to even Kizaru and telling Kizaru that basically that that like this should be Luigi himself that should be getting the government getting the revenge against Lex Luigi for that after train to be along the lines of different like Luigi maybe even shouting out against like even Kizaru like there is a scenario that I'm that Kizaru seeing at that point most likely seeing what might be such an extreme intensity in like movies in like movies I feel that if revenge and this at that point that Kizaru that that alone that we see basically Kizaru at that point like focusing on like suddenly Lucy's like not that I'm going to so like while like the Lucy versus Kizaru that movie taking place on so different like without like delay at all, like I'm not doing like Lucy mostly bringing out the black full awakened black leopard power like no power of like is not that I'm going to find that significantly can bring down and like the law of black Stussy at that point happening and that way I'm no different for like the final program battle of black Stussy at Black Spectre Island to definitely be against Jack so while I'm not different like the final program battle of Capo usually ending up being against like Sandy I'd like to recognize like significant scenario that I'm going to that's we must experience for like injury points like example and that what maybe is that a few place of ship that would be showing up to injury showing up to like attack and that point I'm looking for like to see most likely given like the order for like the remaining four crew members except for like Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, and Frankie. Like I'm looking for the remaining Rocket crew to basically escape from that Sector Island with like weapon to be along the lines of like the order that like the we would be giving and basically to keep it from selecting this plan that in that way I'm preparing by then for like Frankie to have most likely build up that the proof the birth on like the Sunday second scenario that and that way I'm preparing while Kizaru and team is going up and would be most likely starting their first of all what might be according to my program between a bus and four against that targeting second line like at that point I'm trying to really more like improve the two levels of like the Sunday that I'm trying that Nami or team along with black weapons I'm looking to be escaping from second island is like the in line is like the scenario that I'm doing and that way I'm looking that them like Nami and team along with the weapon I'm looking that the next island that they will be making it to be most likely to be like silent and very reflecting not that I'm doing. So I'm not expecting by then for like Japanese kid and just like part of the rule that I'm not expecting by then to have more likely in and of Japanese kid and then for man of that so to bring anything up to things and start creating corporate at like Elbap and getting them all of them captured by like Elbap and so into getting put into like for some kind of state and like Elbap like it's not that I'm going to so definitely I'm putting one flag about the manufacturing usually Nami and team that making it to that side of the build up and they're like I'm different so at that point we or excited about reaching Elbap and basically that way I'm going to bring like Luffy like I'm going to bring without it meant resulting in so the moment like they're reaching Elbap so running off on the zone with that absolute excitement to like a job Elbap and like it's not that I'm going to that way exploring a job exploration so friending a single giant for a bunch of giants, like maybe two or three giants, like that ever perfect. That way also getting split up from like Nami and like the remaining teams like in that number three and from like Nami and the remaining teams like different them as well ending up accidentally breaking some sort of like a rule, important rules which might be within the thing that itself accidentally and basically that way Nami and at that point under different the Sebastian getting absolutely cross and embraced with Nami and team and basically that way them as well getting captured by the Sebastian and getting put into like an important kind of state along with Japan Kid and the fire through to like getting Narik Channel and I'm talking at that point for like the what might be on different scenario to be like an Sebastian held up to not that late deliver like the judgment of that basically to bring them down, bring them all down, the person of all down is like that I'm running. So like at that point while Gavin Cave has his throat as well as like Nami and others including Gavin would be in that absolute late kind of situation. At that point I was thinking for to be more like I'm leaning water for what they want to be not at that point what to be that's the end of that so that would be happening at that point, which would be a sorting technique and then the source of like unprecipitating land, all of them to say like the theme of the narrative that I'm waiting for, or like the first kid that I'm looking for like five, then finally two, three, and like the remaining row. So I'm doing that, making it to and rap and basically with like the entrance of like Luffy and team like basically that way Nami and the uh and Japanese and it's for the getting saved like the other input scenario that I'm